Ani Bojo Chihuahua Sam Quaina Dishnakas Makwa Megaze Dodem Matachuan Donjba. I'm Lynn, and today we're going to be going out for a walk in the bush, exploring Mother Nature, and we're going to be specifically looking for the wigwas tree, which is the birch tree. And we're going to see what we find, maybe look for some tracks, maybe see some animals, I don't know. But I'm happy that you're able to join me today on this beautiful walk.
All right, let's go find us a birch tree.
So the wigwas tree is one of the easiest ones to identify. It's usually the white trees that have kind of like a paper that's wrapped around them. And that's their bark that keeps them safe and protected from any of the bacteria or diseases that might be around them. So here's one of them. And this tree doesn't look too healthy. When you look at all the way at the top, this one trunk looks like it's kind of dying up there, so I'm not sure how long it's going to survive. But down at the trunk here, it looks like he's doing very good. So with these types, you know, this is already off the birch, so it'd be fairly safe to take that from him. If you took too much of his birch bark off of him, you'd expose him to getting sick and potentially dying. But this is kind of like an ideal tree, I would say, to get some wigwas off, because there's lots of wigwas that's hanging off of it. So before we harvest anything in Mother Nature, even if you're picking berries or going to take water from a spring or going to take wigwas like we are today, we always carry our tobacco with us, and we give that as an offering. We give that to say thanks to Creator for everything that He gives us. And if I were going to be taking His life, I'd be thanking Creator for this spirit and this life that the Creator and Mother Earth has offered us. But today I'm just going to be harvesting some of this wigwas. But before I do, I'm going to lay my tobacco and give thanks for this tree and talk to that spirit to tell it what I'm going to do with this wigwas and what my purpose is for taking it. And I'm going to pray for this tree to live and have a healthy life. Chimigwech Debenjigen, Mandagijgad, Chimigwech wigwas. Now. And once you've laid your tobacco and given thanks, then it's safe to take a little bit of wigwas off. But like I said before, you don't want to take too much, and you just want to take what you need. And because today I'm going to be showing you how to do a little birch bark offering, which is going to be a birch bark, kind of a little bit of a basket. I only need a little bit, so that's all I'm going to take from this guy, is a little bit of birch. So this is plenty. You'll see when we get back to camp, I'm going to soak it in some water so it becomes nice and flexible. And then we'll be able to bend it and make our little cuts and make our little birch bark offering. And so here we have another wigwas tree. He is a very good size as well. Everything in Mother Earth is medicine and has something, you know, that's beneficial for either one another or for us as human beings. So in the springtime, these actually run. They have syrup that run through them, or it's kind of like a sugar water. And we could tap them just like you'd do a maple tree. So our people would do that in the springtime, and they'd take the medicine that comes out of that and they'd purify their bodies. So we'd drink that medicine, and it'd help us kind of get rid of like all the bad stuff that we might be carrying throughout the winter. So that's one of the things that birch bark offers us. This is such a large tree that's it's dead. There's not much life in it left, but there's these huge pieces of birch bark coming off of it, and that would be ideal to make a canoe. If we were building a canoe and needed birch bark, this would be the perfect tree to take some of that big pieces of birch bark off of it. Wow. And because this tree is already dead, it's kind of already given its life. It's kind of lived through its cycle. So these big pieces of birch bark that probably a lot of spiders live in would come off, and we'd soak it in water again, and then we'd take those big pieces and put them together and form our canoe. And that's a whole other teaching. You can tell there's lots of waboos around here because they're leaving their tracks all over the snow. Little white rabbits hopping around. There must be a few families around here.
Little muskrat
Could be.
came out of the water. Oh yeah. Look at the size of that one. Grab it.
So this guy's stumped. He broke at one point or another. I don't know where the top of the tree ended up, but this is what's left of him. And here's another big piece of birch bark that, you know, some people will make their moose collars out of that. It's a nice thick piece,
Big
and then
horn.
they'll soak it, wrap it, and tie it up or sew it together. But this is just a spare piece that's laying on the ground, so I'm gonna lay my tobacco for it too, and take that back and maybe use it for fire starter or some other use that we could use.
Yeah, because that one's got holes in it.
Yeah, it's full of holes. It's getting rotten.
All of our food's gonna fall. Don't put soup in that. Or we could use it as a strainer.
Here's a birch stump that got chewed down by a mick, which is a beaver. Here's a beaver that came here and chopped this down. Getting dammed up a place somewhere. Little busy beavers.
You'll have to say that.
There's something really special about walking in the bush and being outside. For me, it's very special because I start to look at things and appreciate everything for its own spirit. I see all the different trees. Some are very big and mature and have been here for hundreds of years. And then there's small trees and there's tracks and then there's the snow and there's all sorts of things that happen. I feel like it's a little bit of a magical moment. But for me, I think it's my spirit reconnecting with Mother Earth and the world around me.
What is it?
There's another, this one's a golden birch. Yeah. And there's a medicine that grows on golden birch that many people call chaga. And that's actually like a fungus. It's a mushroom, but it doesn't look like a mushroom. It looks kind of like
I think I see some up top there.
Yeah, it's usually just like a black blob that looks burnt. And we'd harvest that, drink it in tea. It's really good for our immune system. It's anti-cancerous, and it actually tastes pretty yummy. If you're ever gonna harvest chaga, however, don't ever take more than a third of what's on that tree because it's also a living being, so that chaga will keep growing if you don't kill it and take too much.
True that.
Yeah.
Just clearing the trail a little bit, cutting off the dead branches.
Yeah, the dead branches, when you cut some of these off, you're giving the rest of the tree a chance to live. Instead of some of the nutrients getting wasted at the bottom here, the nutrients will go straight up and go to the branches that actually are alive. So it's kind of just like giving them a haircut. But don't hurt the tree. Avoid the trunk. This is a balsam, by the way. There's lots of medicine that comes in the balsam too. When you touch, if you've ever touched a tree and you get sticky hands, it usually comes from this guy. And right now you can't really see too many of his bubbles, but that's where his medicine is in all these little bubbles that get really big in the spring and throughout the summer.
And then they pop.
Yeah, and that's when you get all sticky and gooey and it's hard to get off your hands. We got another big bird.
Big Mama Birch.
Big Mama Birch. She's probably been here for hundreds of years. I don't know how old she really is, but she's pretty old. And she looks pretty healthy. Yeah, she's a big, beautiful girl. Or boy, we don't know. A beautiful spirit. Miigwech doll.
This is a trail from the great winter Canadian snake. No, I'm just kidding. It's just like...
You never know what you're gonna find in the bush.
That'd be a furry snake. It would have to have fur.
Whenever you guys go outside and are gonna go take a little walk or a trail in the bush, make sure that you're with an adult. And if you're old enough to go with someone or by yourself, then at least let someone know where you're going. Because it's important for safety purposes, because it's easy to get lost out here. And sometimes you might get hurt. Accidents happen. And if someone knows where you are, then it's much safer for everyone.
Yeah. Good advice.
I would hate to be out here with a broken leg and no one knows where I am. That'd be scary.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're heading back now. We got our piece of wigwas. Once we get back to camp, I'm gonna give this a quick soak in some water to soften it up, and then we will have our birch bark offering teaching. Okay, don't fill up. Okay, so before we do our cuts with our birch bark, I'm going to show you on a piece of paper just so you could see better. So if this was your piece of birch bark, what you're going to do is you're going to cut one place here, and then you're going to cut one place here, leaving you 3 pieces. Cut and cut. And those are going to be the cuts that you have to make on your birch bark so that they could fold together properly. So if I were to do this,
Firebug.
it's okay. I'll just take the audio out.
Okay. Lynn's just doing a quick video for work. Awesome. It's a good demo.
And then this is what it will look like at the end, which it's harder to see with this one where the cuts were made, but with this one, it's a little bit easier. So, okay, so we have our birch bark here. And if you're gonna wanna do a spirit plate for the living spirits, those that are alive and all the spirits around us that are still living and alive, you want the living part, the outside of the birch, facing down. But if you're doing a spirit plate for the spirits that have passed on in the spirit world, then you're going to do it the inside to facing down. So today I'm going to do a spirit plate for the living. So I have the outside of my birch bark facing down. And what you're going to want to do is try to make a bit of like a square or a rectangle out of your birch bark. So I'm going to cut a few pieces off here. Like that. And then at the end, you're going to want to make 2 slits so that you end up with 3 kind of tails at the end. So 1 slit here and 1 slit here. And then you're going to lift the end of this slit, and then you're going to go right in the middle and cut about halfway up. Then you're going to do the same with the far end. So you're going to go about in the middle of the slit and cut halfway up. Then you bend the middle piece up like this and bring these 2 together, and then the slits that you made come together as one. Oh no, it broke again. Okay, it's okay if that happens to you too. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna make a smaller basket. Let's try one last time.
Yeah, you should go with the grain.
I did last time, it didn't work. The first time I did it, so then I switched. Okay. So now we got one end done. This is what it's going to look like at the end. The 2 slits meet together. And then here you have your birch bark offering. So the ends will be the 2 slits together. This one of my slits broke, but I was still able to do it. And then you'd put a little bit of any food that you have and go leave that by a tree or near the water or somewhere special to you. Speak to the spirits and let them know that you're coming there to feed them, because those that are in the spirit world need to eat too, and they don't need much. A little bit of whatever you're eating in the spirit plate ends up being a lot in the spirit world. So they end up getting a little bit of their food if you're doing this for someone that has passed away. If it's, maybe it's like your grandma. Like if I was doing this for my uncle and I know he loves burgers, then I'd make sure that he gets burgers and whatever that may be. So if you're not doing it for anyone specific or anyone in particular, then just bring out whatever you're eating and offer that to the spirit world, and the spirits will be very grateful. So I hope that you like this video, and sometimes these don't always work out. It took me a few tries to get it, but yeah, that's just the spirit practicing patience. Patience is a very important thing to have in life and to practice within everything that we do. So please be patient when you're doing this, and yeah, let me know how it goes. Miigwech. Nahau.